So in this sprint, we have added support for debugging build variant script. And actually, this is not something new, but what is new is the documentation that we wrote for how to do this. So this is something you can do already now, or can do since a long time, but it was not documented how to do it. So we have written an article about it, and I will show you how it works. Then we have worked on a new feature that we call Manage Editor Session. It consists of 2 commands that allow you to save the currently open editors into a session file and later restore the editors by loading that file. So it can be useful, for example, when you are restarting HCL and want to restore all editors. It can also be useful if you want to switch between different tasks and want to close and reopen different editors. Or maybe when you're performing Git commands from command line that may change lots of files and can cause performance issues if you don't close the editors before doing that command. We also, some time ago, removed by mistake a checkbox called points to const type for attributes. That has now been added back again into the product. We have also, I think it was in this sprint, but it was a few weeks ago when we released our first release for Eclipse 2022-06. It's what we call a core release, which is an experimental release. And the reason we call it core is that because it's only the core feature of RCRT and HCL. But the idea here is that you can already now install this on top of Eclipse 2022-06. And make sure that, for example, your own plugins work in this environment, and also get a glimpse of the new Eclipse and running HCL and RCRT on it. Then we have worked for quite some time on improving the state tracing, and now finally in this sprint we will include it. And this involves both changes on the UI side and also in the target RTS. And the state tracing now happens by means of a new state activation event, which the target RTS sends whenever a state becomes active. Previously, it was done by using the transition triggers and analyzing what state will become active when a certain transition triggers, but that turned out to be too complex and complicated in some scenarios and error prone. So we hope this solution will be much more stable. And the concrete outcome of this is that the problem that you have seen in the past, that certain state activation events were missing, should now be solved, and all state activation events should be present. Then we have also started to work on uplifting our compilers to new versions. And in this sprint, we are focused on Visual Studio. Before, we supported Visual Studio 2017, and now we have uplifted to the latest, which is Visual Studio 2022. And we provide a new target RTS configuration for this compiler, and also pre-compiled libraries for target RTS, Connexus, and some others. Then we did many improvements in the area of certain TC properties and especially related to paths. For example, inherited prerequisites are now correctly handled with regards to TC sources. It's possible to inherit the target project location from another TC. We extended the support in the workspace output path property so that it supports subfolders and also absolute paths. And last but not least, we have support for the standard Eclipse variable $workspace lock, which can be used if you want to reference something relative to the workspace location. And that also works in the generated make files. For example, if you want to include some header file relative to the workspace location, that is now possible. Then we did some improvements in our Clang tidy support, code checker support, and we added support for suppressing warnings for non-explicit constructors that we rely on for type descriptor generation. So now you can get rid of those warnings. And as I mentioned in last sprint demo, we are also working on aligning the feature set between RTist and RCRT. And in this sprint, we have taken 3 features that previously were only in RTist and made them available also in RCRT. This is the unit testing of capsules, the experimental support for text-to state machines, and the event routing visualization. We have demoed all of these in the past, so we will not demo them again now. They work now in the same way in RCRT as they already work in RTist. So then this is a summary of what we will deliver in this sprint. There is an update of RCRT and RTist 11.2 called 2022-41, and this is something you should install on Eclipse 2021-06. Then, as I mentioned, we have made a first release for Eclipse 2022-06. We call it 11.2 Core. And there are no changes for the older version, so they are still the same as before. And the list of experimental features currently is the text-to-tape machines, and the whole 11.2 core release is to be treated as experimental.